is Jarrod Horak, and in this video I will share the latest Kentucky Derby news and give out my top 3 most likely winners. And if you're interested in my annual Triple Crown Series full cards, you will find them at therunawayhorse.com on my shop page. I've been offering my Triple Crown Series products since the late 1990s, and I have had a lot of success over the years with those products. My early Derby analysis is complete right now, and I will send that to you if you pre-purchase my Derby products. You can go to therunawayhorse.com on my shop page. If you're interested in any of my Triple Crown Series products, I am covering Kentucky Oaks Day at Churchill, Kentucky Derby Day as well for Preakness Week, Black-Eyed Susan Day and Preakness Day, and Belmont Stakes Week, multiple full cards at Saratoga, including a full card for Belmont Stakes Day Saturday on June 7th. And I will include a link to my shop page in the video description below. I also posted my latest Kentucky Derby 2025 report earlier this week at therunawayhorse.com on my Kentucky Derby page. You can check out that article now if you're interested. That article includes updated point standings and my exceptional 11 Derby contenders. Now we're going to look at the top Derby contenders. Right now, 24 horses are still targeting the Derby as of April 23rd. And beginning with Admire Daytona, your UAE Derby winner, coming in from Japan is Luxor Cafe. The other qualifiers from the North American points races, we have Burnham Square, Sandman, Journalism, Rodriguez, Tiztastic, Tapon Street, Sovereignty, Final Gambit, Coal Battle, Chunk of Gold, Citizen Bull, your 2-year-old champion, Owen Almighty, East Avenue, Publisher, Still a Maiden, American Promise, Flying Mohawk, Grande, and then the 20th and final horse on the list to make the Derby field is Built, but he is also possible for the Pat Day Mile, so he has not been confirmed for the Kentucky Derby. And we have 4 also eligibles right now: Neoequos, Render Judgment, Baeza, and California Burrito. And now we had some workouts on April 23rd. Citizen Bull, he's still in Southern California for trainer Bob Baffert, and he worked 7 furlongs in 124.20. That was best of 2 at Santa Anita Park. That was his 3rd workout in 11 days. And in the Santa Anita Derby, he came up short. He was off of a layoff that day. He was up on the pace. He got tired in the stretch, and he was well beaten. So he had a solo work today. And as I said, since that Santa Anita Derby, they've been working him hard, getting 3 works into him, trying to get him fitter for the Kentucky Derby. And his fractions for this workout, 23.60, 35, 111.70 for the 6 furlongs, and he galloped out 1 mile in 140. He is scheduled to ship to Churchill Downs on Thursday, and Bob Baffert does think that he has him back where he wants him now, and he's going to be removing blinkers for the Kentucky Derby, and he should be forwardly placed under his regular rider, Martin Garcia. Sandman worked at Churchill Downs, 5 furlongs in 102.40, 20th best of 29. He had a 13.65 slow opening furlong, and then he had a final quarter in 24.49. And he galloped out 6 furlongs in 115.40. So for Sandman, just a routine maintenance move. I'm not going to read much into the final time. And he's one that he's faced the starter 8 times in his career. He's had 3 starts this year. He should be plenty fit to run 1.25 miles. And your early Kentucky Derby favorite, Journalism, he galloped at Churchill Downs on Wednesday, and he traveled 1.1 miles, and he did make an excellent appearance. So this one, for your Derby favorite, he does continue to give every indication that he's going to run a big race at Churchill. And he's scheduled to have his final Derby work on Friday or Saturday. There is a chance of rain on Friday, less of a chance on Saturday. So I think that's going to play into when they're going to work him. So if it does rain Friday, they might hold it off one day. And Luxor Cafe from Japan, he's been in quarantine in Chicago. He's scheduled to arrive at Churchill Downs on Wednesday evening. And some other horses that made nice appearances at Churchill on Wednesday: Burnham Square, your Bluegrass winner, Rodriguez, for trainer Bob Baffert. He has shipped from California, as opposed to Citizen Bull, who will be shipping tomorrow, and then Sovereignty. So they all made nice appearances on Wednesday at Churchill. And now we're going to get into the 3 most likely winners, and I'm going to do them in alphabetical order. And these 3 horses are also my top 3 contenders on my exceptional 11 Derby contenders list. And I've been doing my Derby blog since last year. I did videos for all of these Road to the Derby points races. So I have a good understanding of all these horses, their running styles, their everything about them. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to come up with the winner this year. And the first horse that's one of the most likely winners is journalism, and he definitely is. And interesting for this one, because based on the comments in my Derby videos, multiple fans are concerned about the short fields that he has been facing, and they don't think that he's going to be able to handle a 20-horse field because he's been facing just a handful of rivals in his races in Southern California. To that, I'm just going to say that any horse can get in trouble in the Kentucky Derby. It doesn't matter how many horses they were facing in their other starts. For this one, and for the Derby, it has everything to do with running style, post positions, how they break out of the gate, how they sort themselves out early, what kind of trip they come up with, the race flow, how fast the pace is, what kind of decisions the jockeys make, and then racing luck as well. So all of those things factor into what kind of trip a horse is going to get in the Derby. Has nothing to do with how many horses they faced in their other races. Now, as for journalism, he can be placed anywhere. He can be up on the pace, he can track the pace, he can stalk the pace, he can close. So Umberto Rispoli, he's a great judge of pace. He's going to put this horse in a good spot if he can, as long as everything works out well that I talked about with the post position, the break, getting that early position, working out a trip, how the race ends up, the race flow, if he makes a smart decision, and then if he can get some good racing luck. So just like all the other 19 entrants, he has those same things that he has to overcome. And for this one, he's the fastest horse on paper. He's 4 for 4 in dirt route races. He's 3 for 3 in stakes races. And he did overcome some traffic when he had a less than ideal trip from the inside in the Santa Anita Derby. And he's one that he's really a true route horse. And I don't think the 1.25 mile distance is going to cause him any troubles. He has good tactical speed, a strong finishing kick. And that does allow him to get the jump on the closers. And then he can keep them at bay as well. So that's something that he has going for him. Because if there's a fast pace, he can sit in mid-pack. He can make an earlier move than some of the later runners and possibly hold them off. Now, for him, he did get great trips in small fields in the Los Al Futurity and the San Felipe. But as I said, he did overcome. He had a crowded, uncomfortable trip in the Santa Anita Derby down on the inside. So he has the best overall numbers. He's the deserving favorite and probably the most likely winner of the Kentucky Derby this year. My second most likely Kentucky Derby winner is Sovereignty. And if you've been following my Kentucky Derby blogs, you're going to know that this one has been my top ranked Derby contender since I started writing my Derby reports last year. And he might be the strongest closer in the field as well. So looking at the pace, I did a video on pace and I talked about how there were up to 7 horses that could show early speed. They should be forwardly placed. The pace should be honest. And Sovereignty's one that needs some pace help. And he's going to need some luck. We talked about horses having to overcome something. Horses that are closers, regardless of the pace or anything else, in a 20-horse field, they're going to have to pass more horses, obviously, and they're going to need more racing luck than a horse that could be more forwardly placed, like a journalism. Also, for this one, he picked up his first career win, and he was my top choice in the Street Scent Stakes last year. So he was a maiden. He won that race easily by more than 5 lengths, and that has turned out to be a productive race. Because the 2-3 finishers in that race were Tiztastic and Sandman, and Tiztastic won the Louisiana Derby this year, and Sandman won the Arkansas Derby. So he defeated some nice horses, and he defeated them easily when he was a 2-year-old, and then he came off of a layoff. He wasn't fully fit for the Fountain of Youth Stakes. That was a grade 2 at a mile and a 16th, and despite not being fully cranked, he rallied from the outside post. He rallied, and he got the job done there by a neck. And then last time he rallied from the outside post and he finished a clear second in the Grade 1 Florida Derby at a mile and an 1/8. So that race was just a prep. He already had enough points to run in the Kentucky Derby after the Fountain of Youth. He got 50 points for winning that one, plus he got 10 points for the Street Scent Stakes. Just the wins in those 2 races were more than enough to get him into the Derby. So there was no sense going all out in the Florida Derby. They would have liked to have won that race, but Tapon Street got the jump on him that day. He was clearly second best from the outside post. Also, his regular rider, Junior Alvarado, wasn't able to ride him that day because he was injured, and Manny Franco rode him, and now he's getting his regular rider back, Junior Alvarado, for the Kentucky Derby. So he does need pace help. He needs a clean closing trip, and 1.25 miles might be right up his alley. And he did have a strong workout at Churchill Downs on April 19th, and he has made a nice appearance galloping as well. So Sovereignty, based on all of those factors, just like journalism, based on all the factors I mentioned with him, are both solid win threats on the first Saturday in May. And then my third and final most likely Derby winner this year is Tapon Street for trainer Brad Cox. And this one might have more upside than any of these horses because he's only run 3 times and he hasn't done much wrong in his career. He won his first start at 7 furlongs, and then he stretched out second time out, and he was clearly second best, and that was in the Grade 3 Holy Bull, and he was my top choice that day. And he closed, and he got to the lead in the Holy Bull, and he may have moved a bit too soon because Burnham Square made the last run, and that one was able to win that race. And Burnham Square would come back and win the Grade 1 Bluegrass Stakes. And then for Tapon Street, he moved forward in his third lifetime start in the Grade 1 Florida Derby, and he was able to stalk the pace and get the jump on Sovereignty and win that race nicely in just his third lifetime start. That was his first career win, and that was his second career win, first career stakes win, and that race was at 1 mile and an eighth. So he's one that he can stalk the pace, he can close if they need to, but I think that they're going to want to be within hailing distance of the leaders, trying to get the jump on a horse like Sovereignty once again. And for this one, as I said, he got the jump on Sovereignty last time, and they want to try to do the same thing in the Kentucky Derby. So his final workout in Florida was strong, and now he's at Churchill Downs. He's going to have another workout there in the coming days, and he is definitely a legitimate win contender if 3 prep races is enough of a foundation to win the Kentucky Derby. We've seen horses that were lightly raced like Big Brown, like Mage, Justify. We've seen horses with not many starts, 3 starts, able to get the job done in the Kentucky Derby. And we'll see if Tapon Street is from that mold and he's able to jump forward at 1 mile and a quarter and get the job done in the Kentucky Derby. But he looks like one of the more likely winners of the race. Also, the races that the horses that I mentioned are exiting. The Santa Anita Derby is typically a strong Kentucky Derby prep race. The same with the Florida Derby. The Florida Derby is another one where you have a lot of horses that have come out of the Florida Derby and won the Kentucky Derby, just like the Santa Anita Derby. So the 3 horses that I mentioned, they come out of the right preps. They have strong connections. They have strong pedigrees. They're in good form. Their speed ratings look good, and they just look like contenders, solid contenders throughout. But it is the Kentucky Derby, as we've seen over the years. Many crazy things can happen, and we'll see horses like Rich Strike get the job done, and you just never quite know sometimes if the pace falls apart and you think that you have the right closer, even like a Sandman who's a contender in the Derby, a Grade 1 winner. He's a closer, and you might think, oh, the pace is going to fall apart. He's the closer, or Sovereignty could be the closer. Well, we might see a horse that we never thought was going to win be able to close and get the job done. We've seen that before with horses like Rich Strike and Mind That Bird. They were really tough to come up with as closers, but when the pace collapsed, they were able to be the right closer in the right spot in the Kentucky Derby. We'll have to see how it all plays out this year, but my 3 most likely winners for the Kentucky Derby prior to the post position draw and prior to knowing the exact horses that are going to run, because we might, like we said, we might not see Built, and we might see a few others from the also eligible list possibly get in. But my 3 top most likely winners at this stage: Journalism, your likely favorite; Sovereignty for Bill Mott; and Tapon Street for Brad Cox. So like, comment, and share these videos if you like them. Subscribe to my channel as well. It's free to subscribe. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.